So blending modes are a way for you to take a layer or some kind of treatment like a brush and to blend it with the pixels already there in special kinds of ways. So I'm just going to show you 3 examples here. This is something that can be used all over Photoshop. Pretty much all tools have some kind of way of blending using different blending modes. So let's have a look here. So I'm going to go to the first artboard here. And you can see that we want this tattoo to be blended onto her shoulder. So if I hide the tattoo layer, I want it to be on there. So probably the most common blending mode is multiply, which says that the darker pixels on the layer you're applying the blending mode to, if darker than the underlying layers, will prevail, and if not darker, will become transparent. So here what we want is we want the white to become transparent. So if I just select the tribal tattoo layer and I go to my blending mode, which at the moment is normal, and I set it to multiply, you can see the white becomes transparent. I want to make it look a little bit more believable here. So what I'm going to do is just warp it a little bit. So edit, transform, warp, and I'm going to just adjust this a little bit so that it sort of contours a little bit more to her shoulder. Okay, and then I'm going to bring the opacity down a little bit. It's a bit too black. Tattoos normally aren't that black. And I'm also going to blur it a tiny bit. So filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and I'll leave it at 0.4. Okay, so that's quite a believable result just using blending modes. So this next artboard has got a photo, and then it's got a gradient adjustment layer. And I've just created this gradient with yellow through to pink. Now, if I change the blending mode of that layer above, I can get some quite dramatic lighting effects here. So I'm going to select the gradient fill layer, and I'm going to go up here and I'm going to change the blending mode to overlay. And then I'm going to bring the opacity down a little bit. So you can see that very quickly I can change the lighting of the image to something quite different and dramatic. All right, and then finally, here we have on this artboard, we have a black and white logo that I want to place on that t-shirt. Now, if I just used multiply, the black will disappear into the t-shirt. So what I first want to do is invert the colors. So image, adjustments, invert, so that I've now got a white logo, but you can actually see the square of the black here. So I'm going to change the blending mode to screen, which means that the lighter colors will prevail, the darker colors will become transparent. I also want to just adjust this a little bit so that it fits in better. So I'm going to go edit, transform, distort, and I'm just going to change the perspective a little bit on this. Also want to just move it up a bit. Okay, and I'm also going to just adjust the opacity a tiny bit. And so very quickly, using blending modes, you can achieve something that you would think would take quite a long time to do. So just by choosing the correct blending mode. So blending modes are really something to play around with, depending on what you want. And you can get some interesting results by blending layers together.